It's October the 10th, MLB Divisional Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code MLB SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, the 10th of October. We are here to pick around the divisional games, two divisional games, which are going to take place this afternoon. We'll also have a little look over last night's action. It was tons of fun. Joining me is, I think, the hardest working man at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It used to be Munaf, but Munaf's slacked off a bit now. It's Mr. Scott Reichel. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Can't complain. Looking forward to the games for Thursday. Had a couple fun games on Wednesday. One series did officially end. How selfish of the Mets to rob us of a Game 5. But point is, so far, it's been a fun round. At least 3 of the 4 series have been fun. I'd say one of them has just had a bunch of shutouts, but nobody's watching anyway between Cleveland and Detroit. So we've had a couple of fun series. Hopefully we have some more fun over the course of the final couple games of those, and hopefully we get a couple Game 5s. But can't complain. Should be fun. Looking forward to the 2 games on Thursday.
I must admit, I did watch the majority of the baseball. I didn't catch the Dodgers Padres. That's far too late. But I did.
The game was over pretty quickly. It was like 5-0.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I had a really disappointing experience watching the highlights this morning. Because I'll go in sequence. My point was, I kind of forgot that the Guardians and the Tigers was on. Like you've just said, no one's watching it. And it was sort of the bottom of the third when I thought, I wonder what time that starts. And it was already 3 innings in, just because it's been so kind of low key. So I agree with you. But it was a really good fun day. I mean, we'll briefly whiz through what happened, because it was a busy day of picks as well. Cleveland to Detroit, I did really well. I kind of had a, like I say, sliding scale of success. Started really well. We took Detroit to win. And then sometimes you make a winning bet, but also the thought process behind it is absolutely beautiful, and it makes you feel really good. It makes you feel like a genius. And my Jake Rogers to score over half a run at plus 220 was that, because I thought he could get on base batting 9, and then I called who would bring him home, Green or Torkelson in behind, and that's exactly what happened. So I was delighted with that. The Phillies and the Mets. First off, I was delighted for Dylan. Our little group chat was wondering just how mad Dylan would be going. But we took the Mets again on the money line. Francisco Lindor to score a run, which he did in the most spectacular fashion. And then there was 2 things that really bugs me about this, because I could have won all the beans on this game, Scott. The first one, myself and Dylan talked about, was your live overs. You turned me onto it on Tuesday night. We talked about it on the show yesterday. And then you alerted us to it again. I was ready. I was sitting with my trigger finger ready. And then you said, right, let's go. And that was before the Lindor Grand Slam. So the total was 5.5. And that took the total up to 5. And then how did they not score another run? It was quite ridiculous. And the double frustrating thing was, I took JD Martinez for an RBI, who left around about 170 base runners during the course of the afternoon. He came up with the bases loaded twice, with no outs, I think, as well, not even 2 outs. And then in that 8th inning, 1st and 3rd, no outs, and Martinez at the plate. So it was all the beans. It was the live over. It was the Martinez RBI. He could not put a bat on the ball. So, yeah, did okay, but could have been so much better. My pick in the Royals game was the Royals team total under 3.5. which was great. Missed out on the Lugo picks. And then the Padres and the Dodgers was most disappointing because I took a lot of Padres stuff. Max Muncy hit, but that was it. And when I watched the highlights this morning, the little caption comes up with what inning you're in. So you kind of know what's going on. And it said top of the first, and you see Mookie hit a home run, fair enough. But then it was top third, top fifth, top seven. There was no bottom of anything came up. So I knew the Padres weren't doing anything. So it was a really underwhelming watch, sitting with my cup of coffee in bed this morning. But good fun. Pleased for Dylan. Congratulations to the Mets. How did you see all of that unfold, Scott?
Yeah, overall didn't have as much action as you did apparently, but I had an okay night. I had Quintana.
Did have quite a lot.
I keep backing Quintana under 2.5 earned runs, and I keep winning. Like, I don't know why it was at 2.5 again. It was only minus 129. He's gone under in like 7 or 8 straight starts at this point. Quintana's been great, and he gave up 1 run. Wasn't even earned because Vientos dropped the ball. So can't even really complain at all. That was a sweat-free win for me. For the game itself, of course, the live over didn't get there, which is pretty unfortunate. Martinez didn't help. Iglesias had some awful bets too with guys in scoring position. I thought both those guys.
Oh, yeah, really did.
But the Mets won the game. Nice job by Lindor coming through. Besides that, the Padres game, I like the over in. I got it at 7.5. That got there, so can't complain too much. The only thing I really was surprised by was definitely not the under in the Tigers game. Because we have seen a shutout in each of the first 3 games of the series, which is pretty funny. But I understand why they did it. But starting Cease on 3 days of rest after he got shelled in game 1 was just such a horrible idea by San Diego. I don't know why you thought he would pitch well after getting killed in game 1, and he was awful. He went less than 2 innings again, and he got destroyed. So I can't say that San Diego squandered the series because they can still win in game 5. I initially picked them to win the series in 5. But Cease in game 4 after what happened in game 1, I didn't agree with the decision at the time, and it didn't work out. Didn't matter in the end because San Diego scored no runs against the Dodgers bullpen day, which is embarrassing. But I thought Cease was atrocious, and that was kind of the story of the game for me.
Well, yeah, that was one of the other things where I did make a little bit of a fool of myself yesterday because Dylan asked me whether I thought it was a good idea to throw Cease, and I sat here really bullishly saying, yes, you should throw him. He's a pitcher. That's his job. I used my racehorse analogy, get him out there. And then he did throw like an absolute drain. So yeah, made a fool of myself there a little bit. Quite happy to admit to all of that.
I'm sorry, he threw like a what? Like a drain?
Like a drain, yeah.
What? How do you throw like a drain? What does that mean?
It's just something bad. You can say.
I understand it's bad.
Like
I'm just saying, how do you throw like a drain? What is that supposed to mean? Is there
I don't know.
Is there a backstory behind that saying?
It's a common phrase or saying. Yeah, people will say, "Oh, he played like a drain." I don't know. Maybe just things going down it. Like
that is what I figured it meant. I just never heard that phrase before. Okay.
I will research the origin of that colloquialism, Scott, and get back to you next week. Chat is buzzing. Lonte's here. Lonte, how are you doing? I haven't spoken to Lonte for ages. Captain Insano. Jason, welcome along. Daniel was in earlier on. Daniel likes the early starts. I know quite a lot of people like the early starts. I don't mind them. Certainly for this part of the season, whether or not it's feasible regular season, we'll have to see. But appreciate your feedback on that, Daniel. So we'll get stuck in to today's stuff. I'm going to tell you first about the flood support effort, which we continue. Obviously, Hurricane Milton is doing its thing at the moment, but Hurricane Helene certainly also did the same out there in Carolina. We've teamed up with mountainprojects.org to help out over there. So get across if you can and help out a little bit. And Underdog Pick'em has got one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR. Yeah, lobby's jammed with profit boosts and specials, flex entries. Use our code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code MLB SGPN. I've got a little prop I like tonight for the Jets game, and it's a kick-in prop, Scott. I've done quite a lot of research into this. Over 1.5 field goals. I think his name's Tyler Bass, is it? Does he play for Buffalo? I'm starting to paddle now because I stole this pick off you. Is it the Buffalo
it's
kicker?
your pick, not mine. I don't know what you want from me. You're on your own here.
Is it the Tyler Bass, the Buffalo
Yeah,
kicker?
that's
right,
correct. Yeah, it's Tyler Bass. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, there you go. Higher than 1.5 field goals for Tyler Bass. Fill your boots. First game tonight, 6:08 Eastern, is the Cleveland Guardians at the Detroit Tigers. Tanner Beebe goes for Cleveland. Mr. P. Chaos will pitch for Detroit again. They don't list a pitcher. Do they need to? They've only got one. So no starting pitcher for Detroit. Cleveland -125. Detroit +105. Total is 6.5. Nice and low there. Tanner Beebe, he's been over. Firstly, actually, I wanted to mention the Guardians. You alluded to it at the start. 20 innings without scoring a run, which is fairly impressive. It was Trev's Brewers who I think hold the record before this, around about 23 innings from a long time ago. 20 innings scoreless. Tanner Beebe pitched in game one of this series, 4 2/3, scoreless. Unsurprisingly, it's got a lot of scoreless things going on in this series. 6 strikeouts against the Tigers. He finished the season well. He had a really strong September. Generally, he's been better on the road. He's got a good strikeout rate. He's got a good walk rate. 22 innings against the Tigers this season. 4 games started with a 4.50 ERA. Pitched twice here at Comerica Park. 2 earned runs over 6, 4 earned runs over 7. I think he'll be fine. He just ticked a lot of boxes. In all honesty, he doesn't inspire much either way in me. I don't want to rush to the window to get on. And equally, I'm not put off by him at all. You said that I did feel like I had a lot of action yesterday. And I found today a little bit tougher action. Today will definitely be a little bit more of a quieter day. Obviously, fewer games, but nothing much jumping off the screen here earlier. Detroit will roll out pitching chaos again. It's worked so far. Undoubtedly, there'll be a point where it doesn't work, where it does go tits up, and we'd all say, oh, well, that was obvious. But until it happens, it's like, I'm not good enough to work it out. I don't know if you are. The Guardians don't appear to be. It's hard to predict where the tipping point's going to come. I think I have to take Detroit again here. All the patterns for this series are kind of in their favour. It worked last night, so I've got no inclination to change my play. Detroit at +105 will be my play. Player-wise, I don't mind the Tanner Beebe strikeouts. I know we're on a shorter leash here, but 6, 6, 7, 5, and 9 in his last 5. I'm seeing a line of over 4.5. Although it's short, you might have to shop around or take an alt line because that over 4.5 strikeouts for Beebe is -150. And for a batter, I looked at Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor's numbers stood out. Not much at all either, really. Looking down either offense, blows your skirt up. The market I looked into, it's the total hits, runs, and RBIs, which is basically a bottom draw, covers everything for Josh Naylor. Over 1.5 is even money for Josh Naylor to do some things with his bat at various points. So, yeah, I found this difficult. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, kind of in the same boat here. I first have to mention the under in the game at 6.5. I'm not going to take the over. I'll tell you that much. Once again, there has been a shutout in all 3 games, which tells you how awful these offenses are. It's why I said going in with Lonte in the series when I previewed it, just bet the under in every game. Right now, you're 2-0-1, no losses. Game 1 did land 7. But since the 5-run first inning by Cleveland in Game 1, they have scored 2 runs in the entire series. So definitely not, I'd say, appealing baseball. But the point is, there is some money to be made. Don't mind the unders again. If you wanted to go for a potential angle, maybe you can go for Bybee over outs. I see that at 13.5. Had 14 in the first game of the series, so that he went 4 2/3. He got there. In that start, did have 76 pitches, but I think he can go well here. Don't mind that idea. He has had at least 14 outs in all 20, or I should say all the last 20 outings. He has gone over in 29 of his last 31 outings this season. So I think Bybee can go well here. We both think even if Detroit wins, probably not because of an offensive explosion. Game probably ends up somewhere in the realm of like 3-1, something like that. So I don't mind the under again. Bybee outs at 13.5 feels a bit low to me. but I definitely see a lower scoring game again, because why would I expect either offense to do anything in these games? Give me the under. I'll go with Bybee over and outs. If you wanted an actual hitter prop, I'd actually look at who's starting for Detroit. So I'm going to have to wait on that. But they have been very aggressive in the pinch hitter aspect of baseball. I'm pretty sure a couple guys got lifted without having an at-bat. Brennan, I don't think, batted yesterday. They used Noel, and they ended up using, I forgot who else pinch hit, Fry, I think. So you might be able to actually get out of a potential, I'd say a lot of a sweat. You might be able to just get a free win if you end up picking the right guy that will be pinch hit for after maybe one at bat. So you might want to consider that. There could be an option whether Detroit goes lefty or righty. Hinge has been mixing and matching depending on matchups, and you might be able to get an under on a guy for Cleveland who might only bat one time, which I think is pretty appealing. So just keep that in mind. Could be a nice way of getting a nice, easy win on a prop.
Crafty Scott, as always. Crafty as a barrel of monkeys. We move on to the second game tonight.
I never heard of that one either, so that I'll use that one though. That's a good one.
It's quite that. Yeah, I told that story on the main show with Sean and Ryan when we were covering the horse racing ones. Because a national newspaper in this country, Scott, did once accuse me, of all people, of being as crafty as a barrel of monkeys, which is a scurrilous accusation, which I refute to my dying day. BetUS is the best in the business, been around for more than 30 years. Easily deposit using crypto. Sean got his payout in 3 hours over there at BetUS. Impressive stuff. Sign up and deposit $100. Get a chance to win a 1964 Mustang. Use your link to sign up and get 125 deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. One of the bets I like on BetUS tonight, it's a kicking prop, and it's Tyler Bass over 1.5 field goals.
That's Monday. That's not tonight. That's Monday.
What is it? Oh, shit. Oh, dear.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, I like Kenneth Walker over 19.5 receiving yards.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
There we go with big Ken Walker. The promo code is SGPN. BetUS is America's favourite sportsbook on a Thursday and a Monday. And SGPN's proud part of the Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform. Helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to custom predictive betting models in seconds. You can use one of the top performing models, or you can craft your own spreads, totals, props, money lines, all the good stuff. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Okay, later on this evening, we have an 8:08 Eastern first pitch between the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. It's Gerrit Cole for the Yankees. It is Michael Wacha for the Royals. -150 New York, +125 Kansas City. Total 7.5. Scott.
So the Yankees came through yesterday. I'm happy about it. Did they play well? One guy did. One guy showed up in the entire lineup. That was basically it. The Yankees had 4 hits in the entire game. Stan had 3 of them and a stolen base. So
I've used my home run prop for Tuesday's show, by the way. The time traveling home run hitter was back again, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, I had that happen to me with Harper earlier in the NLDS series. But point is, the Yankees offense really didn't do much besides one guy. Did have a lot of good at-bats, though. Cabrera reached base a couple times. The walk props have actually been good for the Yankees. They've been walking a lot in the series. But for the actual matchup, we know Cole struggled in Game 1. They somehow won Game 1. Not sure how they pulled that out, but the point is he did not pitch well. Wacha was fine in Game 1. I find it difficult to fully take a side here because the Yankees should win with Cole pitching, but I definitely don't want to lay 150 after he struggled in Game 1 pretty heavily. So I think the value is on Kansas City. If I had to go for an actual angle there, I would probably lean to Yankees team total under, actually, because I like Wacha. I don't think Walker's that bad. We know the Yankees have not done well against him in the past, especially Aaron Judge. I'll mention those numbers in a second. But for the actual play in this one, I like the Yankees team total under. We've seen a lot of low-scoring games in the playoffs as a whole. We saw the Yankees break through against Kansas City in Game 1. Not even hits-wise. We just saw them walk a bunch of times, and some guys were on base. Bases loaded walks, I think, definitely came through for the Yankees in that one. But with guys on base, the Yankees haven't really gotten many clutch hits, and the team total's a bit high for this one. You're looking at the spread being 1.5 at around +110. not interested. The money line's at -150. I'll pass on that. I'll take your play from yesterday with the other team. Give me the Yankees team total under, and the line's a bit high.
Yeah, that first game twisted and turned like a twisty-turny thing. This is a huge spot for Gerrit Cole. The door has well and truly been left wide open for him to put the Yankees on his back and carry them through. Whether he can do it or not. I mean, he wasn't razor sharp in that game. The lead changed hands dozens of times. 5 innings, 3 earned runs. Right, he did finish the season very, very strongly. He was better away from home. He's 4-1 with a 2.77 ERA against Kansas City. This Kansas City are a very weak hitting team as well. I think Cole's going to shove tonight, Scott. That is my handicap. I've bought into it. I've drank the Kool-Aid. Michael Wacker pitched in that same game. 3 earned runs, 3 walks over 4 innings. I think he's really earned our trust. He was very consistent all the way through, from June onwards anyway. Pitched with 2.89 ERA. The total looks way too high. Just the 7.5 looks too high. So I'll take the under on that. And I'm going to take the Kansas City Royals team total under, Scott. So you've got one team, I've got the other team. We could all cash and still just hit the under. It is juiced today. I think obviously with the presence of Cole, it's -135. All the things I liked actually going forwards, these player props and stuff, we're all a little bit on the juicy side just because the books have sussed this out completely. Player props wise, I do like Gerrit Cole tonight. I think he's going to go well. Over 4.5 strikeouts, juiced -135. I like Austin Wells over half a ribby, batting cleanup, +145. I like MJ Melendez for over half a hit at -135. And Michael Wacker outs, actually. He is reliable. Lugo got to 15 last night. It is, we understand the playoffs, we understand the short leash thing of it all. But over 14.5 outs for Wacker is +105. Scott, player props, what caught your eye?
Yeah, so I looked at the actual prices. I do like the, once again, team total under for the Yankees. That is at 4.5, and the under is -125. Yankees scored 6 in game 1. They 2 bases loaded walks. 8 guys walked in game 1. So that is a bit fluky. Point is, not many guys actually coming through with hits with guys on base. So I do like the Yankees to maybe win the game, win ugly like they did yesterday. So that's kind of my favorite team total there for the Yankees. For the actual player props, you actually hit on one of them, but from the other side, I actually like the under on walkouts at 14.5 here at about -129. He only had 12 in game 1. I know that he only threw 70 pitches in that one, but it is an elimination game, and I do wonder how strict they're going to be with the leash, because I do think the Yankees can get guys on base. They've been walking a lot, which has been one of the only bright spots of this entire lineup so far. But I do wonder, with it being an elimination game, do you pull the plug early, maybe after one time through the order? Walker gets into some trouble, some guys on base, and suddenly you get a little bit, I'd say, anxious in the dugout, and the manager makes a move. So I actually don't mind the Walker under outs at 14.5 in an elimination game. I think it's a good spot to let him go one time through. We'll see if he struggles, but if he does struggle, it's an elimination game. You're against Gerrit Cole. Assuming Cole doesn't entirely, implode in this game, then you're probably in a pitcher's duel, and you might get a little bit scared of Walker going through the second time through the order. So I don't mind the under on outs there for him personally. For the others, I thought about maybe going with some Yankee unders because nobody's really been hitting. But I am wondering if I want to go to Bobby Witt under half a run scored at -130. He has scored 1 run in the last 10 games. He has scored 1 run actually in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He scored 1 run in the last 13 games, and it's -130 on the no. You think Cole's going to pitch well? Witt hasn't really done much so far this season. I mean, this season he did a lot, but in the playoffs he hasn't really done much. I don't mind the Witt under half a run scored at -130.
Yeah, I mean, Witt's been quite prominent in a lot of talk, a lot of articles, a lot of TV stuff, just because he's the absolute star player. He did get going. The only thing that would put me off that is that I think he get on the board last night? Did he eventually?
He got a hit. He didn't score yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So not the. But maybe just sparks him off a little bit. Finally, then Scott, dingers. I looked at this, and as I've already said, there's not too much to pick from. I've picked a lad here, Scott. He bats up at the top of the Yankees order. He's called Aaron Judge. He's been known to hit the odd home run. Plus 270. He's got tonight. This is a Yankees pod, as Captain Insano likes to point out. Gerrit Cole's going to shove. Aaron Judge is going to hit home runs. It's all the Galacticos of the Bronx tonight. Plus 270 for Aaron Judge. It's time, Scott.
Yeah, so I was going to touch on that for a player prop, but once again, not the way that you wanted me to. Do you know Aaron Judge's career numbers against Michael Wacha?
Oh, no, I don't.
So I have it on ESPN. I'm not sure if it actually includes game one, because when I look at these head-to-head history stuff, it tends to be regular season only. So I'm not sure if it actually includes game one or not. But Aaron Judge, either in the regular season or if it includes the playoffs, whatever. Can I interest you in 1 of 20 lifetime against Michael Wacha? Potentially 1 of 22 if it does not include game one. I think it doesn't include game one. So I'm pretty sure he is currently 1 for 22 lifetime against Wacha. And I will point out, he didn't get a hit yesterday. Thought he had pretty good at-bats. I thought his at-bats were better. He had made some good contact, had a couple warning track shots. But the point is, against Wacha in his career, he has been atrocious. So I'm not going to go with him in that one. Instead, I'm going to go with the guy that has been showing up lately. He had a stolen base yesterday. He had a home run yesterday. And his numbers against Wacha have been not great, but he has a home run against him lifetime. I'm going back to Stanton in this one. Stan has proven to me that he is still a playoff performer. I saw a stat yesterday that I think he averages the second lowest plate appearances per home run in the playoffs in the history of the sport. Number one's Babe Ruth, by the way. So Stan tends to homer a lot in the playoffs. I think it's a good spot for him. I think after watching him yesterday, he's fully dialed in. Give me Stan home run at plus 370. I think it's a great price. I'll go with Stan to do it again at 370.
And one last thing, Scott, before we go, just the best bet for the couple of games. I mean, not much stood out to me, but I'd take Detroit plus 105 to win that game. They're going to get it done tonight. That's it. So, yeah, that would be my best play. Plain and simple, Detroit on the money line plus 105.
Yeah, for me, I was torn between maybe going to the under or going with a player prop for this. The under in the Tigers game or going with a player prop in this one. I am kind of intrigued by Wacha under outs, but I really do want to see, once again, how many pitchers the Royals actually... They used a lot of pitchers. It is worth mentioning they used a ton of guys in yesterday's game. So maybe that ends up resulting in a longer leash for Wacha. It's an elimination game, though. I am wondering if maybe you still pull him early if he struggles. But I think for this one, I'm trying to think if there's any other props I want to go with. You know what? I'll go with what I mentioned before. You like Cole to pitch well. I think he'll go fine. Give me Bobby Witt Jr. under half a run scored at minus 130 as my best bet. He has only scored one run the last 13 games. So I like that prop. I think Cole can pitch well, and I think that it's a good number. Give me Witt under half a run scored at minus 130. Yankees team total, though, at 4.5 under at minus 125, I did like as well.
Okay, Scott, digging deep to find the good stuff. Thank you very much. And we are done. Nice solid half an hour. Somebody will be back tomorrow for Game 5 between the Padres and the Dodgers. The chat was live and kicking, nice and early for you. Look, a little bit of tea time action here for me. So, yeah, I do appreciate that too. Good luck with all your bets, everybody. Back tomorrow, as I say, and we will see you all down the road. Cheers.